Hello everybody, this is Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead on Porch Time today. Guys, the last few days has been amazing. I mean, the weather has been almost perfect. Mid 40s in the morning, around 70 to 72 during the day, bright sunny skies with a cool breeze blowing. I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than that for me in the Deep South. I mean, the gardens are doing fantastic. Now, I know from looking at the extended forecast that by the end of October, all of this is going to change and it's going to turn hot again. And we have the possibility of a massive storm moving into the Gulf, coming up into the southern part of the United States somewhere. Now, we're just hoping and praying that it doesn't happen, but the Arctic oscillations I've been looking at shows that we may be possibly facing that. And it just seems like once things get really, really good, there's always something every year that comes in and just is just horrible. Now, it used to wasn't like that. It used to, once you got past October the 1st, when I was younger, man, fall was just fantastic. You know, I mean, you didn't have to worry about storms and nothing. I mean, the weather was beautiful. It was cool. It was crisp. It doesn't happen like that anymore. Everything has changed now. And right now, I can't complain. I mean, the gardens are doing really, really well. And the greenhouses are doing beautiful. This weather has been really nice on them. I just hate to see this warm up coming back, because when that happens, it throws everything out of cycle. I mean, my pear trees right now is completely bloomed out again. And it throws everything out of cycle, specifically the insects. Because what will happen is, if it stays warm for more than a week, insects will pop back out and be horrendous. But they'll think it's early spring, and they'll just devour everything in a matter of a week or so, and that's what we hate to see happen here in the Deep South. But guys, you people up, I'm gonna say north central United States. We're gonna say Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio Valley, all up through that way, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Y'all are fixing to catch it. I mean, according to what I'm seeing, y'all are going to get bombarded with severe weather. Now, this is by design. Let me say that. We have an El Nino sitting off the Pacific Ocean over here. But, as I've spoken over on Patreon, in Texas, they're firing off these gas wells to heat up the atmosphere to draw the jet stream down. And much like what the equator does, to pull the heat pulling it down. And those jet streams are going to dip down across that part of the country right in there, because that's the grow zone. And they are trying to get wind into Texas for those windmills that you're installing. And they're trying to get, it's just going to get, by doing that, it's going to become extremely cold. The weather's going to be violent. And I just hate it. I hate it that they can't just leave everything alone, and just enjoy life. I mean, why does man have to tamper with everything? Which brings me to my point today. And that is lies. All the lies being told. What is the greatest lie that was ever told? Okay, I mean, let's just stop and think for a minute. What was the greatest lie that was ever told? The greatest lie that was ever told, in my opinion, was the first lie. And it was in the Garden of Eden. And it was, if you eat this, ye shall surely not die. And of course we know Eve and Adam both partook of the fruit, and they believed the lie that if they ate of the fruit, they would become like God and that they would never die. Well, what we have happening then is we seeing that they did begin to die, and as a point, sin entered into the world. Now, in my opinion, that was the greatest lie ever told, because it was the first lie, and it defiled mankind forever. You know, I mean, it just until the Lord comes back. And let's just, let's just stop and think about, what does it mean to be lied to? There's a lot of things in the world that I can deal with. I can deal with a lot of things. I can deal with someone saying something hard about me, or I can deal with someone saying, lots of things. But what I've never been able to deal with very well is someone who literally lies. Now that is someone that I just cannot deal with, because when someone lies, you cannot trust them, and as a result, it breaks down relationships. It breaks down marriages, it breaks down friendships, it breaks down lots of things. That's why everything has to be, used to, you shook a man's hand, and he would stick his right hand out, and you would shake his hand, and his word was his bond. That's not so anymore. Even today, they've gone as far as you have to have contracts. You have to have contracts on top of contracts and all this kind of stuff. And people still lie. They still want to break them, and they still want to lie. People want to cheat. They want to steal. They want to lie. Just simply because they're just dishonest. Most people, it's just sad that so many people are just dishonest. And I guess the second biggest lie, I was trying to think of what would be the next biggest lie. And the next biggest lie that I can think of has been about this right here. And all the misinformation that's out there, and all this being taken down. Now, if you go to look for information about that, I talked about this over on Patreon. I have a video over there that where I go in depth about this right here, a little more than what I will here. But the fact is, the powers to be are lying to us about this. And the thing about it is what you're being told this has nothing to do with this, and that's the scary part. And I hate to, like I said on my live stream the other night, I hate to talk about Patreon a lot, but because I don't ever force anybody to go over there, but I am able to say a little bit more over there than I am here. But the real truth behind this began back in the 80s. And so many times today we've heard people say, oh, this is a test run for something else. No, this is not a test run for anything. The test run happened back in the mid 80s, and what you're seeing now is that come to fruition is what's happened. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you'll have to go over to Patreon. I'm not going to talk about it here. But the fact is that we've been lied to, and the thing about it is lots of good people fell prey to this. And the sad part about it is we're going to have to say goodbye to a lot of them at some point in history because of it. And it's one of those things that it breaks my heart that they were lied to and they fell for it. To prove my point, I guess a little bit more in depth, the scripture talks about in the latter days of the age, going toward the tribulation period that's spoken of in Revelations. It says that if the days were not shortened, even the elect would be fooled. Now, what that means is that those who have tremendous godly discernment and have not had the and was able to see through all that, and is able to see through everything that's going on in the world, and are able to discern between good and evil and all this kind of stuff. God said, if I did not shorten the days, even those people that could see through all of this would fall prey to the deception of the world, because the lies are going to become even more intense, and they're going to become more convincing. The scripture tells us that there's going to be signs and wonders in the skies. People are going to be able to create holograms. They're already doing that, to where what you see really doesn't exist. I mean, let's stop and think about some of the things. What year was it? My mind, sometimes I've got so much stuck in my head. I think it was 1996 that the pharmaceutical companies gained, I gotta choose my words, they gained freedom to be able to advertise their drugs on national television. Now, they didn't say that you had to take these drugs on there. That was their way of getting in trouble about it. But they gained permission in order to be able to start making advertisements about drugs. And as a result, I don't watch TV anymore. We turned ours on during the hurricane because our internet went out to try to see if we could get a local station. And I got so angry during that couple hours that we had the TV on that I just turned it back off, because every other commercial was a drug and the side effects of that drug and how you should take that drug and not look at the side effects, because it was more important for you to deal with what was going on than it was to think about the side effects of it. You know, we're just being manipulated. We're being lied to about this whole thing, you know. And they tell you need to take this drug. Well, you take this drug, well, it causes this in your body, and now you got to take another drug to combat what that just caused as a side effect, and next thing you know, you're on tons of drugs. And God never intended that. That is not of God. That is of the devil. And I don't believe in all this stuff. I don't believe it's scriptural. As a matter of fact, if you do much study on the book of Revelations, you'll find out that the latter days of an age that we're talking about here, the word pharmakia is a word that's used for during that time. It's called a time of pharmakia. And the word pharmakia is where we get the word pharmaceutical from, which means pharmaceuticals will be a big issue during the latter days of an age. And guys, we're there. I mean, you can't see or hear anything without it being about something to do with a drug, you know, and trying to convince you that you need it. When 90% of us are on medications that we really don't even need to be on at all. We're on them because this is medication, which is 99% of all of them are synthetic. Most of them are not even created in our own country. They're created in a country that hates us. So why wouldn't they want to poison us? I mean, so you got to stop and think about this as we look at this, all the lies that we're being told. Another big one right now is the container ships that are sitting off the shorelines of the United States. We're being told, oh, they can't get unloaded. They could get unloaded. Yes, they could get unloaded. If they wanted them unloaded, they could get unloaded. The problem is they don't want them unloaded. They're trying to create a scenario here. And guys, I'm going to say something here. I could be 100% wrong. And my prayer is that I am 100% wrong. Okay? So don't hold me to this, but I'm just going to tell you what I feel in my heart is a possibility. All these container ships sitting off the Gulfs and the shorelines, both east and west of the United States. You remember a story when you was a kid growing up as a Greek story about a Trojan horse, and how that they wheeled this big horse into the city because they couldn't get inside the walls of the city to destroy it. So all the enemy got inside this big giant horse and they rolled it up into this place, and once inside they popped out of the horse, you know, and they took the city over. Well, I'm sitting here looking at all these container ships around the outside edges of the United States, and in my heart I have to wonder, is this a Trojan horse? Is it possible that on one of these container ships out there is the ability to launch a missile at our country and hit key points. I think there's a couple of key points in the United States I think that we should look at. One being New York City, and the other being Washington, D.C. These are two of the United States' most important places that if either one of them was taken down, it would literally cripple the United States. Now, there is a story that was wrote some years ago by a gentleman, I'm not calling any names, some of you will probably know who I'm talking about, who talked about the launch of a missile off of a container ship destroying certain parts of the United States. Our enemy has missiles that can travel at hypersonic speeds, and they can be launched from the back of a container ship. They can be launched from a submarine. They can hit their destination. They fly below radar, and they can hit their destination before they're ever even detected. You know, there is a missile. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I want to say it's called a Sunburst. That flies over the speed of a .30-06 bullet that belongs to our enemies, and they have threatened to use them. Guys, I would keep my eyes on New York and Washington, D.C. in the future. I'm not going there. I don't plan on going there. I don't want to be there because I believe those are fixing to be two hot spots that something could possibly happen. And I think we're being lied to. I think we're not being told the truth about all these ships sitting around the ports of the United States. I think it's more like a false flag. They're trying to get our attention on a broken down supply chain, the Pestilence 19, I think they're trying to keep us focused on all these things, shortages, blaming it on this and blaming it on that, while underhandedly something else is going on around the borders of our country, and they're setting up something to happen. Now, I know that's a far-fetched thought, but there's just something inside me that makes me a little bit leery of being surrounded, literally surrounded, by ships that supposedly hold stuff that we need. How do we know? How do we know what's on those ships? Those ships could have anything on them. They could be waiting to just literally, once we get crippled down enough and we get in bad enough shape and we get sick enough of all the you know what, and then they could do something and literally take down our country in, well, as Revelation says, in 1 hour. And you stop and think about it. We talk about Mystery Babylon in the Bible, and the Bible says that a lot of people want to say it's the Vatican. Some people, I've heard, in my opinion, it is a system, and the United States is a part of it. Okay? Some people want to say that it's Babylon. Well, Babylon doesn't even have a water port around it. Babylon actually was Baghdad. Ancient city of Nineveh was actually Babylon. I mean, there is no water ports around these places. And the Bible says that in Revelations that the ships are sitting off the shores of Mystery Babylon, it talks about, and they watch her being destroyed within an hour, and they lament for the loss of trade because their ships are loaded with goods that they are no longer going to be able to deliver, and they're no longer going to be able to pick up any goods from the merchants of Mystery Babylon and take them with them. And so there's a loss of revenue, and everybody is crying and lamenting and wailing on those ships. And right now I'm sitting here looking at all these ships that are surrounding us and thinking to myself, wow, you know, what is going on here? Are we being set up for a time in which all of this is about to happen? I mean, are we that close, you know? Never before have I seen this many ships surrounding our country so that we could be that close to something happening. So, you know, those are some thoughts, guys, about lies, us being told lies. Stop and think about all the different lies that we're possibly being told today. And it's all because we're trying to be manipulated, and we're all trying to be led in a specific direction like sheep to slaughter, and nobody seems to care. Everybody wants to just comply, and they just want to go along. Oh yeah, I think it's the best thing for us. You know, if this right here has done anything, I believe it has made people's minds passive. I mean, we know that people like Adolf Hitler put tons of fluoride in the water back during those days to make the minds of people very passive and not have any aggression about them whatsoever. And it makes me wonder that over the past few years, we went in with all these community waters and municipal water systems, and they've loaded them up all with fluoride, claiming that it's good for your teeth and all this kind of stuff, which is the worst thing in the world for your body. It has nothing to do with your teeth. It will crystallize your teeth, where your teeth will actually crack and break. It actually makes the bones in your body brittle. And if you don't believe me, just go back. I don't even know if the research is still up. They probably done pulled it down. But about different people in third world countries that they had all kinds of deformities and all that stuff, and they went to find out they had tons of fluoride, natural fluoride, in their water and in their wells, and they had to put filters on because the people were dying at young ages with all kind of maldeformities and physical issues and all that beginning to happen, mental problems and stuff. It has happened again, guys. It has been slipped in on us through the water systems, and I think it probably is too late, to be honest with you. I think it's too late. I believe that the damage has been done. That's why we don't use fluoride water here. We try to stay away from it. I won't even buy bottled water if I can help it. We try to take our own water from our place here, from our wells. We've had, you know, everything's been tested out as much as we can, and we don't have a lot of chemicals in our water and stuff. It's just good, clean well water. And you guys may hear a gun in the background. My neighbor has gone ballistic over here shooting his gun. And there's nothing I can do about that, because that's what neighbors do. And I don't mind it. I'd rather see them shooting a gun than I had hearing hollering kids or something. But guys, these are some of the thoughts today I wanted to bring to our attention, is about lies. Because today, everything is about lies. It's just lies, lies, lies. And pay attention. If you go on the internet, and the fact that so many people say, send me a link, I want a link to this. I'm not sending you a link. I don't look at links most of the time. I don't even, like I told people over on Patreon, I don't care about links. If people send me links, I usually don't look at them. Now, Wanda may look at them, and if she finds something interesting, she may say, hey, check this out, and she may bring it to me, and I may look at it for a minute or two, but I don't have time. If I do any kind of research, I'm talking to somebody. Like I told them over on Patreon, if you want to know the truth about cancer, find a retired oncologist, someone who's not under the AMA anymore. If you're talking to an oncologist that still is under the authority of the AMA, he's not going to tell you the truth, because he can't. He'll lose his license. It's the same thing with everything else. If you want to find the truth, find someone who's retired and who wants to get the truth out. That's what you need to do. And guys, that's what I do. I look for retired people in those fields, and I try to get a chance to talk to them one-on-one and try to get information from them, and then I try to put stuff together from that. So if you want to know about links to this and links to that, I don't do that. I don't look at links usually. Ms. Wanda put up one over on Patreon I had no idea about until I went to watch my own video. I didn't see I saw this link and I said, what is this? And she said, you need to watch that one, because everything you said, this person said. And I thought that was kind of interesting. But guys, I got to get back to work. It's a beautiful day. And guys, I hope and pray that the Lord will bless you, and He will bless you immensely. Thank you for stopping by Deep South Homestead. If you haven't subscribed, I pray you will subscribe and hit the notification bell. And guys, hit the thumbs up, because when you hit the thumbs up, it puts us into an algorithm with YouTube. And YouTube puts the videos out there for everybody else to hear. If you don't do the thumbs up, then it just sits here. It doesn't go anywhere. And I'm going to always have tons of thumbs down. I mean, I know we got lots of people in the world that just are mentally deranged, and they just feel like they have to thumbs down somebody. It feel like it gives them some kind of a power or something. It makes them, gives them an ego trip or something. I don't know, and I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care about anything like that. But if it's something you feel like you need to do, then more power to your miserable day, I guess. So with that being said, guys, I got to get out here and get busy. A lot to do on a homestead. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.